Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about adversity management, basic concepts and the competencies thereof. So yes, we'll talk about the tools of adversity management. Now, what are the tools? Please understand the core, CORE, the core tools that we talk about every now and then, of which C stands for control, O for ownership. Remember, it is disaster management that we are talking about, controlling the situation, owning the situation, reaching it to the people who are requiring help, and perhaps continuing the effort time and again as far as endurance is concerned. So yes, we are talking about course wherein C stands for control, O for ownership, R for reach, and E for endurance. You got to keep on working towards your goal, never losing hope. Believe me or not, it's a crisis situation, it is adversity, things are against you. The major revelations, what are they? The response is everything. The mere fact that the end result might not be in your favor, but the fact is you have put an effort towards it, towards achieving the end result. Your intention is what is more important. The mere fact that there is a proper response, the mere fact that there is some sort of help, or probably we might look for an almighty intervention, but the just of the thing is you need to be proactive and probably responding appropriately. Remember, adversity responses, it is based on time and your adversity quotients. The longer the duration of your time it reaches to help you, your adversity quotients becomes less, and the shorter the time for you to respond to adversity quotient, the chances of survival. That is what I wanted to tell you about adversity, as the case might be. This is what adversity response is all about. It adversity strikes, and it is your timing of your response which will probably elevate the situation from becoming a catastrophic one. You might be able to control the after effect, or control the damages to a certain extent, and that is what is most important as far as adversity is all about. It is your time that you want to respond. So where do you want to go around it? The tools, let us talk about it. If you look around certain things, for example, if we have timings for assessing water, giving water to the victims, perhaps, or let's say providing oxygen, providing food, providing due medical care. Now, whatever your parameters are, that if you can map it on a scale of 5, and probably if you jot it down, you will get something called an adversity quotient around here. That is what we are looking into it. The delayed responses, you see the adversity quotient, the final adversity quotient becomes lesser. But if you have an appropriate responses at the higher end, that is what we are looking at it. That 48, where you are putting the medical reach, the water, the food, the mere fact that you are able to communicate, the human touch, human communication that comes around it, will help to elevate the victims from their present scenario, the present pain that they are probably facing. So yes, anything below 140, or probably you need to determine based upon your federal government statistics and federal government endurance policies as far as adversity is concerned. There are certain countries which are located in a disaster prone area. Perhaps they would be looking for tsunamis and earthquake warnings every now and then experiencing. So adversity quotient for people living out in their area would be much on a higher end, right? So, but generally it is approximately around 140s. Above is where we will talk about high and above average adversity quotient. Below 140 is the appropriate response is not appreciated at all. Or should I use the word the response and obligate the word appropriate? The response is not appropriate at all if we would love to go around it. So final score, you need to change it. So tools, the profile test, if we go around it, the control situations, how do we requiring about it? The ownership, you need to understand what is your controlling powers, what is your ownership. Now, once people talk about controlling, it's if there are natural disaster which probably you cannot control, but probably you can predict, right? Probably you can give an early warning system, perhaps. Next comes is the ownership. Now, in such a scenario, when the disaster strikes, how do you mitigate it? How do you ensure that life comes back or jumps back into normalcy time and again? And that is what we will talk about in terms of reach. How many people are you reaching? Remember, in case of adversity, in case of disaster, is maximum good for maximum number of people should be followed. And last but not the least would be the endurance factor. Definitely, yes, we are going to keep on working upon it, keep on enduring the fact that such events need not strike in such devastating fashion. So, control, what are the facets of the situation that I can potentially influence? Let's say natural disaster, can we have develop an EWS, early warning system? If it is ownership, can I make the most positive differences? How can we make life come back to normal? The faster it is, the better it is. Reach, it's how do I minimize the downside or maximize the upside? The principle that I set it, maximum benefit for the maximum number of people. Endurance is how quickly can we get it over with. That is what we are looking forward to it. The tools, let us give you another tool in terms of lead. LEAD, wherein lead, L stands for listening to the responding, listening to what your heart is saying, what is your head is saying. That is most important, yes or not. If you are able to listen, what is the right way to do, what is the ethical way to do, probably this is where you need to understand. Then understand E as in establishing accountability, pointing responsibility. A, to analyze the evidence. D, for doing something, that is what you need to go around it. So listen, L for lead, listen, E for establishing accountability, A for analyzing, D for doing something. No, people would be saying, what are you trying to talk about in terms of listening to your heart and your head? No, there might be victims and both require medical attentions. Both might not be in the same degree of injury. Some might be life threatening, but believe me or not, the other person might not be life threatening, but if there is a delayed response, it might become life threatening. So, what do? You should always prioritize the fact that person who is requiring dire attention should be given attending first. But sadly, probably it's a hypothetical situation. Sadly, you don't have that requisite medical intervention. The operation theater is missing. The requisite medicine is missing. So, should you attend to that fellow who requires immediate attention, or should you attend to the fellow who requires deferred attention? Probably, but whose medical interventions are available, the medicine are available. The minor injuries that might is life threatening can be just about doing it. So here comes a conflict between your heart and your head. That is what you need to go around it. You have to listen what to do and what not to do based on your priorities. With whom will you help? The funnel tools are basically, yes, there are potential n numbers of ideas that comes around this as to what is to be done, when it is to be done, who or how it is to be done. So what are the consequences that we are looking into it, objective, when, the timing factor, how, the process, and then it is done forwarded. So listen to the responses of your heart, probably establishing the accountability, analyzing the evidences, and doing something. Remember, establishing accountability is wherein you, because of your action, some people can be saved, or probably there are other people who will you might have ignored because of the situation just I gave it to you in the prior slide. This is where you need to understand you have to establish accountability. Remember, the fact of the matter is maximum good for the maximum number of people. So what, when, who, and how is what we look into it. So the core strategy. So control, what is everything which is perceived beyond our control. How much can we help and how much we need to leave it to the natural justice altogether. It's the fact of the nature that will take over. The course of nature takes over. Of course, what are absolutely beyond us and what we can influence. Now, ownership is where we can set up the most immediate positive impact on the situation, most immediately, most impactful, most visible that things comes around here. That needs to be understood time and again. Then we have the reach. What is the worst thing that could happen? Best scenario. the best scenario, the worst scenario. This is what you are going to go around it. Remember, the best scenario is maximum benefit to the maximum number of people. The worst scenario, you have saved just a few, probably saved just the property. Your life has been lost. Now, this is what the worst scenario is all about it. So, how can we minimize the downside? Obviously, maximizing the upside is the criteria, is the objective. And that is what we do, go around it. Then comes the endurance factor. What is the endurance that we keep on talking about it? As in how life is coming back or springing back into normal. Yes, these kind of disaster, these kind of crises, these kind of uh, devastating adverse conditions might crop up time and again, but that need not bog us down. In fact, that should only make us stronger from within to face such challenging situation. That is what adversity is all about. It that is what all about endurance is. How quickly can we spring back? How quickly can we normalize our lifestyle? How quickly can the society function as a normal thing? So ideas, simple. What, when, and how as a criteria. You need to properly work it out as far as endurance is concerned. Ideas, how do you do it? What do you do it? Is it the government intervention that you require? Is it the community intervention that is required? Is it a job of one people? Probably not. It is a proper group of people. If proper, probably it's a one sector that gets affected very drastically. Let's say it might be a production sector, it can be a mining sector, it can be a farming sector. To that sector, how can we protect and revive that economy in particular sector? These are things that needs to be done. Remember, significance is an immutable and a universal need that can be constructively constructed for better things. That is what is most important. You need to work upon this time and again, because if you don't make an effort, there'll be no improvement at all. So this is what we need to appreciate all the scenario. Significance is an immutable and universal human need that can be constant, that can be constructive or destructive. This is what we need to go around it. It is your intention, your effort that you put in that makes it count. With this, I come to state the mere fact that eventual success of an individual or perhaps a community, let us talk it as a collective endeavor, not even the individual, not about the community, but also the provincial government, other stakeholders. When I say other stakeholders, it need not be a federal government of your country, it can be international community also. Collective endeavors and purpose is to greatly determined by our, as a species, human being, as a species, adversity quotient. This is the eventual success of an individual, of a collective endeavors, and the purpose is greatly determined by adversity quotient. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.